Well, thank you very much, and a very good morning to each and every one of you orchid lovers, wherever you are. This is a very short video, and I'm here with Taib Ali of Taib Ali Orchids. As you know, this very famous gentleman who has the technique and the know-how in not just growing, but basketing, mounting. Today we're going to be doing a very short video on how to actually basket an orchid. But just before we do that, let me salute all our Muslim brothers and sisters out there. We are in the middle of the Ramadan period, so we say Ramadan Mubarak to each and every one of you. Actually, the 7th of March 2025, and the camera is focused on a beautiful orchid as we begin this video. Ty, what's the name of this?
Chilean Ruby.
Chilean
Ruby.
Ruby. So you could see the beauty of this. It was just divided into a couple of clumps. Actually, we got one, two, three out of it. And the reason why this was divided type, what's happening?
Way over past the time due.
Yeah?
Yeah, the media real dead, so I need to take it out before I lose the plant.
Right. And when we say the media dead, it means that it would have turned into what you call...
It rot down.
Right.
I'm holding too much water right now.
And the result of that, people use the word sour. It became sour, and after a while, if you keep that plant inside of that basket, it eventually will cause the plant to rot and eventually die because it holds too much moisture. The medium in there would have become saturated with water while you water over a period of time. So we're going to do a basketing. Time has already started to actually do this prepare the basket to mount this orchid. And what you can see we've got here, this is what you call coconut shell.
Yeah.
Coconut shell, but look at the condition of the coconut shell. This coconut shell that we are using to repot this is what you would want to refer to as brand new coconut shell. There isn't any moss on it. It's not old coconut shell. It's brand new coconut shells. You can see the husk has that lively, brilliant brown color to it. So, of course, you want to make sure that when you repot it in brand new media so that the plant actually gets a new lease on life. Now, he's actually doing this in such a way that it kind of like plats itself into place. This pot is what, maybe a 10-inch, a 10 inch basket.
Yeah.
So the husk actually fitting around the basket and literally plaiting itself in place. So when you actually do that, it kind of like lends itself to mounting the plant all on its own. He's also using what we call in local parlance a gill pin, or some of us who are old like me know it as a poya. So to cut some to fit so that it actually locks the bigger pieces into place. So the technique is not difficult. Just maneuver the shell inside of the basket as the case might be, and of course the process becomes quite simple. Right, and as we continue, you would see Taib kind of like manipulating the coconut husk. What he's actually doing, you may want to, as you begin the process, you may want to move around the husk a little bit so that it fits properly. And when you mount the plant or basket the plant, it will not shift unnecessarily, as the case might be. So what he's actually doing now is like entering this plant inside of the basket. And like I said, the technique is no big magic. You do it unique to yourself. You may want to shift around some of the coconut husk, as the case might be, so that the fit really is to get it as snug as possible, so that if you move your plant around from, let's say, your shed into your nursery, it remains rooted, so to speak, and will not shift and fall off the basket. So I just want to mention some of the medium that we are using. So the first thing we're using is the coconut husk. Yeah. And as we go along, you will see some of the other material that we're going to be using inside of the basket. So first and foremost, of course, the coconut husk. And coconut husk has been used for umpteen years. maybe as long as one could remember domesticating orchids, coconut husk has been the preferred medium to mount a basket, whatever the case might be, in terms of doing it. And I'm sure access to coconut husk is quite easy. Time.
Yes.
We have lots of friends and family and things that will, after their coconut becomes useless in terms of the jelly and the coconut water, they'll pass on the shell to us. But you want to make sure the shell is in good condition.
Yeah.
It
You
is
don't
solid.
want to put too much whole coconut shell. You have to repot back earlier.
Right. So you want to make sure it's well dried, and of course all the jelly inside of the coconut is removed, because if that begins rotting, if you use that and it begins rotting inside there, it will cause virus and bacteria to develop. So coconut husk, and Taib is also going to apply now some other material. What you've got there, Taib?
Like the red brick.
So you've got the red brick, normal red brick, clay brick. You could pass anywhere in a hardware to tree, always fall off the pallet, and you could always pick up some of that. Or if you prefer to buy a couple, not very expensive. And there is also inside of this, there is also this
Coals.
is coals,
Charcoal.
charcoal, quite readily available as well. And then there is this small, what you call the leaker ball. There's a big name that is used, but I won't attempt to pronounce it. But this is leaker ball. This one is a bit on the high side, the price. But nevertheless, if you have access to it and you certainly can afford it, no problem, you can use it. So the technique, like I said, is quite simple. The material that is being used to mount it is a basket, the coconut husk, you've got clay brick, you've got the charcoal, you've got the leaker ball. There are other material that people incorporate into this as well. There is the Styrotex. There's the big word for it. It slips me now, but it's like a styrofoam kind of a material. Some people incorporate a bit of stone, what you would call river rock stone, inside of there. Tree bark, but you've got to be selective with the tree bark, and we don't have any tree bark here at the moment. But you can go around and look for tree bark that is solid, not rotted away, but is of a sturdy material as well, because you don't want to end up with a tree bark that is rotted, that will eventually turn into manure quite easily when you pot your orchid. So this is a piece of tree bark. This came off a very mature zabuka tree. If you look at it closely, you'd see the indentation on it, which lends itself to when the orchid begins to root. The root will actually go into this. If we just turn it around type. So we see, look at the other side. You'd see as well the texture of it. So it's not rotted, but if you can get bark that is a lot more sturdy, mature and developed, that will lend itself to basketing as well. So you have that in there, and so like I said, the material that you use is up to you. It's endless. So many other material you can use. So that's basically it. You can see how sturdy. Look at how sturdy this is. Not a firm shake, but a gentle shake. I mean, if you shake it rigorously, of course it will come out. But after doing that, you don't want to shake it rigorously. A gentle shake, and it gives an indication that it's quite sturdy and potted and basket well inside of there. So what we've just done, we give this a new lease on life. So it will now develop, send out new roots, new shoots, and you've got an entirely new plant from what was there before. If you look on the ground here, I can show you what came out of it. All this material certainly would have used up its usefulness. It has lost its maturity in terms of giving life to the plant, and that is why we took it out and decided to repot it. Right. The final stage of this basketing is applying water. Time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water to all it just so anything on the cake now. Time to let
And you want to give it a good watering, not just to wet it. You want to give it a good watering. Actually, that water is actually penetrating the entire plant. You can see how it's coming out. So the drainage, in fact, is what is critical and important as well. So this, even though you're watering it, giving it a good water, it is also moisturizing what the root, so to speak, the entire plant itself. But critical in all of this is to get all that water eventually draining out, as you can see. So important in all of this is the drainage, because you don't want any water remaining and settling inside of there to give rise to fungus and bacteria, because moisture, as you know, in this is a no-no. It will eventually, if the water doesn't run out completely and dries itself out, give rise to bacteria and fungus, as the case might be. So you don't want that happening. So we leave it there, and of course you see all that water eventually came out. It has just come down to just a trickle or a droplet, as the case might be, and it's as easy as that. In less than, I'd say, a little over 10 minutes, we removed an entire orchid, repotted it or basketed it, and give it a new lease on life. And it's a technique that Taib has been using for quite a while. It has worked successfully for him, and that's the point I want to make. This method, there may be a whole lot more way of doing this. You've got your own unique way of doing it. He has his unique way, which we've just shown to you, and it has worked wonders for him over so many years. So, like I always say, when you get into orchid, the bug bites you and you want to get from one to the other, to the other, to the other. In other words, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for another orchid. Well, thank you very much for viewing, and of course, we see you again. Cheers.